In for loops, we use in programming for loops for iterations, or we have to iterate to number of objects in a list, or you can say we have to extract all the elements one by one from the list and have to perform some action on that list. Then we will use for loops. So this is a flow diagram of for loops. In the for loop, we have some initialization condition, have some termination condition, and you can say some on the basis of conditions we have to continue the for loop. So if the specific conditions true, then we have to come in the body of for loop, or if specific condition is false, then again we can continue this for loop. This is dependent, totally depending upon our use case. But if specific is case true, then we will exit the for loop in this case. But if specific thing is false, then we will are continuing our for loop here. So this is a general flow diagram of a for loop. We will execute the for loop in later this session as well. Then we have range function. This is a iterator function in Python, or we can say it is a generator function. So generator functions are those functions which execute for specific number of times, or you can say from start to end, and some steps involved in that range function as well. So in the range function, we have to pass the start, end, and number of steps. Let's suppose I have to generate a number from 1 to 10, then I will pass in the start 1, stop 10, and step 1. Means I will start from starting index, or start from 1, then go to till 10, and each step will be divided into 1. Means we are dividing over from 1 to 10 in 10 steps, so it will start from 1 and go to the 10. This is known as range function. Like in this example, we are generating a number from 0 to 11, so it will by default take a step of 1. So I'm just executing it. It is a generator function, so it will nothing show here. But if I will pass it here in the list, then you can see the output. It will extracting the from range 0 to 11. It converted into a list, and it shows me output from 0 to 10. I am executing it. And then I have again this is a generator, or you can say a range function from 0 to 11, and step is divided into 2. Means we will start from 0, then 2, then 4, then 6, then 8, then 10. So this will be our output. Then we have modulo function. So what are the modulus? Modulus is, you can say, a remainder in division, just like. So from 17 modulus 5, we will get a quotient. 5 3s are 15, is 3 is a quotient and 2 is a remainder, so we will return with 2. Similarly, 10 modulo 3 is 1 and 4 modulo 3 is 0. Then we have some examples of a list as well. Like we have some list of numbers 1 to 10, and we can, using a for loop, we can iterate those numbers. So this is just an example of how we can utilize a list using for loop. Let's suppose we have elements in a list from 1 to 10, and we are extracting numbers from 1 to 10 in a number num. So each time we are executing, you can say, for single iterations, we are extracting one by one element in a num, and we are printing out those numbers. We can also duplicate the number double time, triple time, 4 times the number as well. Then we have, this is another example, list, for loop, if else, and print statement. Here I have a list 1. This is our list 1, that 1 to 10, and I'm finding out only the even numbers. So I am utilizing here a modulus operator. I am extracting number one by one from a list and iterating it through a list, and for each number I am checking here that either is a number is even or not. Like if number is specific modulus with 2, if its remainder is 0, then it is a, you can say, a even number, otherwise is a odd number. Like 2 modulo 2 is 0, then this will be considered as even number, otherwise odd number. So we have 2, 4, 6, 10, 6, 8, 10 are even numbers. Similarly, we are printing even as well as odd numbers as well. Like I am printing that at index 1, this is an odd number, 2 is even number, then odd number, then even, then odd, then even. Then we have again a list of, I have a list of specific alphabets, word, and in the result I am appending, I am creating a new, you can say a string, and I am appending this individual letter or individual alphabet from a list to a string. So I have complete word, or you can say in a string the word. Then we have another example of a list. We have a list of strings and we are printing those languages in a string. Range of values, range 0 to 3 means we are iterating, or total 4 means we are starting from 0 and end on 3, and the last index will be excluded, so we are printing 0 to 3. For loop that we have some conditions, if some specific condition is true, then loop will continue, otherwise it will break. Like this is another example of while loop. Instead of for loop, in while loop we have initialization condition here, that we are initializing x from 0, and then in here we have the condition where we have to pass whether we will continue this loop or when we will end. So similarly we have here in while loop we are checking that 0 is less than 10. If it is less than 10, I am coming inside the loop. So this part, this complete part will be inside the loop, because in Python the loop, inside the loop brackets will be only consider the indentation. The fourth space will be considered as indentation or inside the loop. Then this else shows that I am outside the loop. So I am checking printing x is a currently value of x, x is still less than 10, and adding 1, and I am just incrementing, x plus is equal to 1. So in else all done means I am outside the while loop. So I'm just printing here x is currently 0, x is still 10, or you can say adding 1 to x, it will iterate through 10, and then I am printing here that are done.